So that we're talking about now beginning to understand the basic mechanism that's creating the universe itself. He often refers to cutting-edge theories in quantum physics, ancient spiritual texts, and his own research to suggest that multiple dimensions exist simultaneously and that our consciousness can interact with them. The brain itself, the physical brain, is a quantum computer to process that data and harness that stream of spiritual energy. Billy Carson continues to expand the conversation around the nature of reality by emphasizing that we are not confined to just one physical plane. What's interesting is the Brain Institute just a couple years ago discovered that the human brain connects to 11 dimensions. These dimensions aren't out there in space, they're intertwined with our current reality, just operating at different frequencies. So the universe itself, in my personal opinion based on my research, is a fractal holographic matrix made of light. Light that we can't particularly detect all of it, like for example dark energy, dark matter, what's creating this expansion of the universe. But the universe as a whole, even the things or the items that appear to be solid within the universe, in my opinion, are all made of light. We learned this through the table. The table is made of light. This table, for example, is a light frequency that's slowed down, and so we give the illusion or we get the illusion that it's solid. But it's just a frequency wave that has been slowed down, that's been collapsed into the illusion of solidity that we're calling a table. And we don't touch the table. We only have electromagnetic repulsion from this table. So the electrons orbiting the atoms within this table are repelling the electrons orbiting the atoms in my fingers. So you never really touch the table, you get a repulsion effect. And everything in the universe is pretty much set up that way. What's incredible about the universe is human beings only can see less than 1% of the light spectrum. One of his most recurring messages is that words are spells. So we have this grand spectrum that we believe that we're taking in, but we're seeing a sliver of reality. We can't see ultraviolet, multispectrum, infrared, gamma rays, all these incredible frequencies, microwaves. There's microwaves floating all around us right now, we can't detect them, we'd be too distracted. But so the universe is very intelligent. It understands what can we process, how much can we process to navigate through this realm. But those other waves are there. And these waves are what? Waves of light. So we know that through the double-slit experiment in quantum physics that was done, that particles, electrons that were shot through the little slit in the double-slit experiment, decide to be waves of potential or collapse themselves into digital bits of matter or information. And because of this, we understand that the entire universe is a wave of potentials, so waves of light moving out until a conscious observer collapses them into the illusion of reality. Wow! And so that's what we're living in, a fractal holographic light matrix. When we speak, we cast vibrational energy into the universe. How many dimensions are in this universe? So quantum physicists and theoretical physicists like Michio have been noted stating that there are at least 11 dimensions to create this entire realm, this universe, and that this universe is dimensions stacked right on top of each other. So at a 90-degree angle right above the third dimension there's a fourth, and at a 90-degree angle there's a fifth. They're compactified. And yes, for anyone listening, that's a real word, compactified. And right on top of each other, they're less than even a Planck length away from each other. And the only thing separating these dimensions is a frequency. So imagine a being in a higher dimension, being able to obtain the subatomic frequency of the third dimension. That being may be able to technologically maybe shift its frequency to match this dimension and walk right in, whether it be apparitions, paranormal activity, aliens, who knows. We ourselves are trapped within this realm. We don't have the capability of changing our subatomic frequency to match higher dimensions. We just haven't developed that tech, or maybe we don't know it exists but we haven't figured out how to do it yet. The general public may not know how to do it. According to Carson, this is why ancient traditions were so focused on chants, mantras, and prayer. Is this kind of like in Interstellar when McConaughey's character goes through the black hole and there's like kind of different stacked dimensions of time and space continuum, is that correct? He gets to the black hole, he hits the event horizon, now he's in time dilation. His spaceship falls apart, he falls into something called a tesseract, which is a fourth-dimensional hypercube, or in ancient times known as Metatron's cube. Meta sounds familiar. In that fourth-dimensional hypercube, he's in a higher dimension than the third. So from any dimension higher than the third, you can see the past, present, and future all at once. That's crazy. Yes. Any dimension higher, or is it just any? Any dimension higher. Fourth, fifth, sixth, 11th, doesn't matter. That's right. Doesn't matter. For example, we're in the third dimension. If you draw a line, well, you're witnessing the dimension of that single dimension. If you connect those lines and draw a house, you can see into every room of that house from the third dimension. And so you can draw people in different rooms in that house and you can witness those people within that two-dimensional structure. From a higher dimension, it would be like someone looking at you in your house at different times of your life, which is what happened in Interstellar. Interesting. They can see you as a kid, a teenager, a grown adult, a married man, whatever, from different perspectives all at the same exact time. Not just for spiritual alignment but for direct energetic impact, words, especially when charged with emotion and intention, become tools for manifestation. So Interstellar, kind of the movie itself, was it kind of made up sci-fi or is it based on scientific evidence we have today? It's based on scientific evidence we have today, which is what made it so incredible and why it resonated with so many people. Because all this knowledge is resonating inside of every atom in our body already. And what does it mean to humanity, right? What does this mean? It means that we're part of something incredibly great. We're part of something so vast. Some people may hear this and think, well, that means we're just a speck of dust. No. It means that we're connected to everything throughout the entire known universe, even connected through everything in the entire known multiverse. And there's a big grand play going on and we have a huge part, a huge role in that. And everything we do here impacts the entire multiverse. Saying, I am followed by a thought is, in his view, one of the most powerful acts a human can perform. If you look at the Hermetic principles from ancient times, as above, so below, also looking at it maybe even from perspective of the microcosm and the macrocosm, understanding that everything is made of fractals. We're living in a fractal holographic matrix and we're just a fractal of the universe as a whole. Now look at the human body. We have a brain. The brain is encased in this skull, which is in darkness. But the brain itself doesn't know really what's going on the outside. It has to connect with its friends, sight, taste, the sensory touch, hearing, go out and get the data. The friends go out and collect data. But they themselves can't decipher the data. They have to transmit that data via electrical signals back to the brain. The brain takes all that data and sorts it all out and projects a hologram after what it believes is going on the outside. And we navigate this matrix based on a holographic projection from collected data. Now, the universe as a whole, go to the macro, is doing the same exact thing. When you zoom out from the universe responds not to what you want but to what you are. This is why daily habits, internal dialogue, and even the media we consume play such a critical role in shaping our reality. You see, the way that the clusters of galaxies are compiled, it looks like neurons in a brain. Really? Yes. The exact same structure of the inside of a human conscious brain. And then what's incredible is you realize that the universe itself being conscious, it doesn't really know what's going on here in the third dimension. But it has its friends, human beings, cats, dogs, a rose, a blade of grass, even a rock. And what is it doing? Everything we know in the third dimension vibrates at a specific frequency. You can't even come to a complete halt. You can't make an atom stop vibrating. Everything vibrates. It's impossible to get to absolute zero unless you create these artificial laboratory conditions. So that means that everything is resonating and vibrating and sending information, in my opinion, back to the source. Even if something's dead, it's still alive. The atoms in something dead are still vibrating. Really? Because they're still atoms. They may convert themselves into something different, like a dead thing may. Even the atoms out of burnt carbon, they're vibrating. The atoms inside of a dead body, they're vibrating and they're getting ready to be recycled back into this grand system of life and could become something else. This transformation occurs. Nothing really ever truly dies, it just transforms. Manifestation to him isn't wishful thinking or new age fluff. Humanity was once far more aware of its multidimensional and creative nature. Carson also warns that modern systems, from government to media to religion, are designed to keep us unaware of our true power. So what's important is understanding the power of the thoughts and the words. Because when you really understand cymatic frequencies, which are the vibrations created by sound, through science we've discovered that those cymatics, which have then consciousness piggybacked on them, have the ability to change reality. You know, Dr. Masaru Emoto, the former scientist that created that water experiment, when he put water in jars and people would speak to the water, I love you, I hate you, and then you test that under a microscope, you see that I hate you didn't form into a nice crystal, but that I love you did form into a nice crystal. So let us know that conscious thought and cymatics that come out of your throat, you literally have a double-edged sword in your mouth, like it says in the biblical text. You can alter realities. And so when people talk to me and they find out about these trips that I go on, all these crazy places that I go visit and take tours to, they go for one day I might be able to go.